Hello. This is Chat with Piss. Dang it.
Why do you keep saying that?
Chat with Chris and Pat. Chat with Chris and Pat. This is Chat with Chris and Pat.
If you're new to
don't
our channel,
know.
this is like, I don't even know how many times he said it the wrong way.
Dang it. Language lexic, I guess.
So today we thought we would talk with you guys about how we actually got to Italy. And like how we manifested that in our lives. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't just happenstance. It was very intentional on our part. We have been trying to move overseas with his work for 13 years.
Yeah.
What
would you say? Do you think there was some times we chased it so hard that it like ran away?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
For sure.
Law of attraction wise.
Exactly. So we are big believers in manifesting and aligning yourself with the vibration of the life that you want and the laws of attraction, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit more than that, but whatever. So I grew up in Europe for a part of my life, in Germany as a child, and I had always wanted to go back. I always wanted our children to have that experience, and Pat was able to travel a little bit, but not to Europe as extensively.
Yeah. Never been to Europe. I did go to Brazil, so the whole getting...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we did go to Europe when we were married.
Once, yeah.
Right.
But I think you experienced it a lot more than me. My first time in Europe was during, probably 4 or 5 years into marriage, visited your parents.
Yeah, because it was when you were getting out of the military.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we had wanted to go back overseas really bad. I have wanted to go back overseas ever since I left when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah.
So it had always been a desire to live and have the experience because it's just a really unique culture. It's an ability to travel and see just how big the world is and how different, and people you can see how similar we are, but yet appreciate the differences. And I wanted our children to have that experience so that they knew that, the little bubble that they live in isn't the only bubble out there, right?
Yeah.
And
it's
you
been
wanted
a great
that.
experience for them, and I wanted that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had wanted that for like 13 years or so during our marriage, well, ever since, to be honest. But we had been actively pursuing it. And there were definitely times where we were pursuing it too much and like almost like, oh gosh, what if we don't get it? And what if, applying for all the different jobs that he could get.
Yeah.
And
pretty eager. Also, belief systems maybe on my part where, I don't know, after some turn downs, after some failed interviews and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know,
is it ever going to happen?
Yeah, is it ever going to happen?
And so you get into this rut of feeling, well, one, too attached to it, and it always being out there, something you want. So one of the things that occurred to me, and I have been reading a lot of different books, and now I can't remember all of them, but Florence Shin is one of the ones that was really transformative for me. I started working a lot with the Florence Shin material, The Game of Life and How to Play It, and there was another one.
Wave Your Magic Wand?
Wave Your Magic Wand or something like that.
Yeah.
And, I listened to that in an audiobook format, I read it, and I was just basically in Florence Shin world a lot. And it dawned on me, it's like, what is it that I'm really wanting? Well, at the time we were living in this house that was less than ideal for us. It was in a neighborhood that again was less than ideal, but we were there and there wasn't a lot of opportunity for us to get out of that at the moment. And so I realized, what? If I'm unhappy where I'm at, there's no reason for me to draw into myself anything that is happier than where I'm at. Like, if you're not a vibrational match, if you're in this like yucky feeling, you're going to encourage more yucky feeling, because that's where you're at. It's like, this is what I'm not wanting this, but the subconscious mind doesn't understand the word not. It just says wanting this.
Yeah.
This is the vibration I'm holding, and so this is the reality, so this is the reality that I'm going to surround myself with. And so I realized, you know what? It was interesting. So what it was, well, one of the very first turning points for me that was like, oh my gosh, this law of attraction, like manifestation shit's really cool, was I had a delivery to the house. This is back in the day, and I don't know if they still do this. I'm assuming, but anyway, a Pottery Barn catalog came in the mail. And I didn't order it. I don't know how it got. Yeah, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this Pottery Barn, but we were not in a financial situation where that was even remotely considered a thing. But I remember seeing the decoration, like the way that they made their interior space, and I'm like, oh, I want a house that feels like that.
Yeah.
And the message that came through so clear in that moment was, why the hell not? Like, you don't have to wait for a new house. You don't have to wait for an overseas assignment. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait. Just create that feeling where you're at. And so that's what I did. You know, I went to Goodwill. I found frames. I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop fighting living here in this place that I'm not the craziest about. And I'm just going to make it the best. And like, the whole, I heard somebody say, you cannot grow to your next level until you outgrew the level you're at. And I was like, you know what? I haven't outgrown this house yet. I mean, like, this house is not at all taken care of, and it's not at all the way that I would want to live. And so do you remember I just got on like this kick?
Yeah.
And
it's like it was a living, breathing thing, and it's like, thank you, you know.
And what was really fascinating, so I made the house like decorated the way I wanted, and it was like, it really felt nice and clean and crisp and like homey and personable, which was another thing I didn't do very often. Like, every time we had moved before, I never put anything on the walls because I'm used to moving so much, being military, and, you know, having to cover the holes, and I just didn't want to do that. And so I never really put pictures on the walls. So like, putting a picture on the wall seemed to indicate that we were staying longer, and like, I didn't want to stay longer. So like, anyway, it was counterintuitive for me. I had to make it actually my home and stop fighting it in order for it to open up and release me, basically. And so, instead of holding on to the lack and limitation that this is all I can have, it's more like, oh, this is what I have, and look at how beautiful I can make it. And so anyway, so what was really amazing about that like aha moment for me was, like I said, the Pottery Barn magazine was what initiated this conversion in my head. And we were at a Goodwill store, and there were bowls, these pasta bowls, big pasta bowls, that I'm like, oh, these are so great. And I look on the back, Pottery Barn. They were Pottery Barn dishware. And I'm like, of course. And so, of course, I had to get them, because then Pottery Barn came to me.
Yeah.
And it was just amazing. So that started like this, you know, progressive momentum towards believing that we could create what we wanted. And even if it wasn't externally validating, by pursuing the feeling that we wanted, like by pursuing the feeling tone of success, the feeling tone of freedom, the feeling tone of travel and sharing wonderful experiences with our family and children, and the feeling tone of all of that kept moving and moving. And like, the home was a really big thing, and that was another one that was amazing. You know, we decided that's another story for another time. But the way we got to Italy was that whole feeling tone. We took a family trip cross country, and I realized in that family trip that that was what we were actually seeking when we were thinking about going to Europe, was just experiencing travel and experiencing unique situations with our children. And we've said to each other, you know what, we don't have to be in Europe for this. Our country is so big, and we can go to Canada, and we could go to Mexico, and we'll just do what we wanted to do in Europe here.
So in other words, we just let go.
We let go.
Yeah.
We let go of this idea that you have to have a particular thing in order to make that reality happen. And it was 6 months later, max.
Yeah.
I don't even think it was that much. It was like August when we were like, you know what? Forget all of that.
Was that the Montana trip?
Yeah.
Yeah, Montana. Oh, yeah.
And it was a revelation that the experiences that we had on that trip were exactly what I had wanted to cultivate with our family by being overseas. And it was the feeling tone of exploration and expansion. And like, yeah, it was that way. I think we got back maybe August. I don't remember when we did that. It doesn't matter. And December, he was accepted into a job and had a job offer and an assignment. So
that's great.
That's how we got here. Obviously, it didn't just fall in our lap. He did have to apply, but even that, it was one of those things of, we had stopped looking at the job site for jobs for him for quite a while, and then it just I had this feeling, this tug is like, just check it out, just see what's out there right now. Which I'm like, well, okay. I mean, we were really happy in the house because we had moved houses. We were on a really good track. I mean, everything was going really great. We loved where we were. It was like this 1920s farmhouse with, acreage, and it was perfect for, then that phase of our lives where we were like super happy. And that super happiness opened up the opportunity for me to be led to say, and just to listen to that intuitive knowing that says, hey, just check this out now. And I did, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you're interested in this anymore, but do you want to check it out? He's like, why the heck not? It wasn't, oh my gosh, I really hope I get this. It was just more like, and I don't know about you, but I totally forgot that we even applied for it. Sorry, my phone's ringing. Yeah, I totally forgot that we had applied for it.
Yeah.
Right? And he had an interview, and we were like, nah. And we're not sure how that interview went. Whatever. I'm really happy where we're at. And I had totally forgotten about it. I had wiped it off the map.
Yeah.
And Christmas surprise. We ended up moving, in May. So that's
Pretty
how we
awesome.
got to Italy. And I guess the point of the story is, let that feeling tone guide you and not the external reality that you're in. And really, if you could focus on the feeling that you're wanting to, like, whatever it is that you're wanting, check in to see what is the feeling tone that thing gives you, and cultivate that feeling tone in your life now. And just watch everything else just kind of fall into place.
Yeah, it exists. It exists for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that you want it tells you it's existing. Because, like, you have no desire for things that aren't really for you, right? I mean, you just don't have a desire for the things that aren't for you.
But the time, I think the timing doesn't matter. I think that's maybe where, I think for us, we thought about, oh man, it hasn't happened yet, therefore it's
never gonna happen.
We messed something up. We didn't do something
or we're
right.
not worthy of having it, and all those other negative thoughts. But
it exists for you, so the timing doesn't really matter, but it could happen anytime.
Yep. And now we have this view, right? And look at that beautiful church over there. That's
It's amazing.
And I live in that feeling tone now. That feeling tone of, oh my gosh, anything is possible. All things, anything.
Right.
Just get in that feeling tone. Okay, I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I hope you manifest what you want.
Yeah, go manifest your Italy. Ciao.
Ciao.